Hey there, everybody. This is Kenny along with Kenny Square. Welcome back to another edition of Sports on the Positive Tip, where we have conversations at the intersection of sports and faith. Kenny, I want to start real quick with football, and then I have a question for you. I cannot stand the tush push. I just think it is a terrible play. It is not exciting at all. It is just who's stronger than who. I remember when that wasn't a legal thing, and then it became legal again. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's if I wanted to watch rugby, I'd watch rugby. And and like it also has kind of become a little bit too much of a cheat code. And like I understand like if you do it well, it shouldn't be banned just because you do it well.
Right.
But also it doesn't make for a good product. And if other people can figure it out, like we're gonna have crazy days, like
Yeah.
crazy scores.
Yeah. It seems like the Eagles are the ones who really haven't figured out. And I thought that was a really great game with the Chiefs there, but every time they did that, which was more than once during that game, I was like, oh, here we go again. Come on. Um, is there excitement there about the Guardians? The Guardians, who sold a little bit at the deadline, they're right there, man. They are 2.5 out. They're 4 games out from the Tigers. I don't think they're going to catch the Tigers, but they're 2.5 out in the wild card. Who knows what can happen? The Mariners are blistering hot. They're due to cool off a little bit, but the Guardians are hot. Is there any excitement in Cleveland?
I think there's a little bit, but there's also like the I'm kind of waiting to get my heart broken type of vibe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And Jordan Alvarez went down with an injury again the other night. I think that's a big deal for the Astros because he's their best hitter. I don't think it's actually that close. I mean, Altuve is still very good, but boy, he still carries that team. He missed 100 games exactly. Now he's going to miss a few more. Big deal for the Astros.
Absolutely. They had a good week. They swept the Rangers, kind of kicking them a little bit out of the postseason picture.
Yeah.
But they definitely need him. They need him healthy.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we're going to talk. It's all about baseball and football. I want to start off with the MVP conversation, and then we can get into where we're at in the pennant races. Give some quick updates on Yankees Mets. You ready to get this going?
Let's go.
This episode of Sports on the Positive Tip is brought to you by the Tavern Coffee House. Attention, coffee lovers! Are you craving the perfect cup of coffee to start your day? Well, look no further than the Tavern Coffee House. It's located at 12302 Buckeye Road in Cleveland, Ohio. You can also check them out and order your coffee at thetaverncoffee.com. Hey there, everybody. This is Kenny and
Kenny squared.
with the Sports on the Positive Tip podcast. Kenny, what a time of year. It's not disappointing. Great week for the NFL. A lot of exciting games that happened. A lot of big games coming up already here, week 3. But we're going to start with baseball, man, because we're right in the thick of it. Some teams have 10 games left, some teams have 11 games left, and there's a lot of teams still in it. So before we jump into that, though, this whole MVP race in both leagues is really intriguing me. And so I'm gonna ask you to take off your Yankee hat and be as objective as you can as we talk about the American League race first. So Cal Raleigh, I think he tied Mickey Mantle, right? And he tied Ken Griffey
Yeah.
Jr. And Mickey Mantle had the most home runs in a season for a long, long time for a switch hitter. 56, and Ken Griffey Jr. holds the Mariners record at 56. He also held that for quite some time. But Raleigh hits 2 home runs the other night, and here's his numbers: 56 home runs, and he's an everyday catcher and a switch hitter. 56 home runs, 118 RBIs, and he's batting 247. His OPS is 951. Aaron Judge, who I mean, the Yankees without him are just not the Yankees. He's got 48 homers, 103 RBIs, batting 326. Sort of Frank Thomas type numbers there, even better. 326, and his OPS is 1.127, so over 1,000 OPS. And so, being as objective as you can right now today, who's the MVP?
For me, it is really hard. Um, because like I guess the question remains, which storyline do you like? Do you like this is a guy that has emerged as a superstar, and has already broken home runs for a catcher record, as is probably going to break the home runs for a switch hitter record, um, and will also break the home runs for a Mariner record, which the last one, like that to me isn't as significant,
Right,
but
right.
um, and also doing it as an everyday capper. I think if that's what you're going with, then go for it. Like he'll probably win it. Um, but also there's a couple things now, and I think you could also argue that there's a good chance that they win the division. They're half game back of the Astros. They're going back and forth, back and forth. Um, however, I have a quick trivia question. I saw this on Twitter. 1999, Mark McGwire. This is his follow up to his 70 home run season, which he finished second in MVP voting. You know who won in 98?
Chipper Jones. No?
Sammy Sosa.
Well, Sammy Sosa won the MVP that year? Okay.
Um, but 1999, um, Mark McGwire hits 278, 65 home runs, and 147 RBIs.
Oof.
Um, do you know how many first place votes he got for MVP?
No.
Zero.
Wow.
Chipper Jones won in
He won in
1999.
99. Okay.
It's 319, 45, and 110.
Yeah.
Um, and it's hard because I think here's what'll frustrate every Yankee fan if they lose, if Aaron Judge loses the MVP. First of all, besides that, I think the thing will be taken out if they can win a title. I'm sure Yankee fans will be like, oh well, whatever, we don't care. Um, but I think about 2017 when Jose Altuve was beaten Judge in nothing except for batting average and stolen bases and won the MVP. But now they're going to do the same thing but opposite, where Aaron Judge is beating Cal Raleigh in everything except home runs and RBIs.
Right.
And you can argue that he would have been neck and neck if he didn't have his elbow injury.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And and yet they'll still probably give it to Cal Raleigh. I do think in the end Aaron Judge will probably win it
Okay.
because of the batting average. You're talking about a guy that's going to hit over 50 home runs, win the batting title, and finish like top in OPS, top four in pretty much everything else. I think he ends up squeezing it out, but it's definitely going to be very neck and neck.
Yeah.
Um,
Gonna be close. Gonna be really close. I don't know. I gotta tell you, I don't know who I'd vote for. 1979 was when Keith Hernandez and Willie Stargell tied for the MVP. It was such an anomaly, and I just wonder if that would happen again here. But the voting is a little different than it was then. I think you only had the one first place vote the writers had, whereas that now they vote for first place, second place, and then they add the points up and everything like that. I think you saw something there. Go ahead.
all right. Well, there's a stat that also came to my mind here. Um, so if you took 180 points away from Cal Raleigh's OPS, he'd be an average baseball player. If
Wow.
you took 180 points away from Judge's OPS, he would be Cal Raleigh. Um,
Wow. Wow.
but also WAR, which isn't great with catchers, I understand. Um, Judge is leading WAR 8.6, leads the majors. Oh no, just the American League. Leads the American League with 8.6. Cal Raleigh is second with 6.7. Cal Raleigh is a lot closer to the rest of that pack. Number three is Bobby Witt. Uh, Julio Rodriguez somehow is also tied with Bobby Witt. Tarek Skubal is at 6.2.
Yeah.
It's like there's a huge gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also old school voters don't care about that. So
No. but there's less and less old school voters though. Uh, you mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. We thought this last year too. We thought that it was going to be really close with him and Aaron Judge, and it turned out not to be after all the votes were in, last year. So this is going to be a fascinating vote. I'm going to hold my prediction until the end of the year though, because a lot can happen in these next, 10, 11 games. Okay, Ken.
All right. Last thing I'll say.
Yeah,
This
no.
is all of the stats that Aaron Judge leads either the American League or the majors in. Leads in WAR, which you just talked about.
Yeah.
He leads the American League in runs scored. He leads the American League in walks. He leads the majors in batting average, 329, on base percentage at 453, slugging percentage at 679, which is slightly less than the 700 that hasn't been done since Barry Bonds. Leads the majors in OPS. Leads the majors in OPS plus at 211. The only person since the turn of the century to have a 200 OPS plus season, I believe, is Barry Bonds, aside from Judge.
Hmm.
Um, he also leads the American League in total bases with 344, and also leads the majors with intentional walks at 31.
Wow.
Um,
The
I will also add this: the only other people that have led in everyone that's led in batting average, on base percentage, and slugging percentage has won the MVP. I know that because Joe Mauer did that, and I thought he should have lost it, but
Yeah. So the overall stats is Aaron Judge then. Uh, you had me at four. His on base percentage is 453. And
yep.
how far? I thought that Juan Soto had a great on base percentage. He's got to be second in the majors, right? But that's a big gap.
I will pull that up in a sec here, but I'm assuming yeah.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. While you're pulling that up, let me just rattle off the National League, which I think is going to be close as well. But Shohei Ohtani, he goes out and pitches five no-hit innings and then hits his 50th homer as well. So I mean he's got that dual role back again. But man, let me talk about Kyle Schwarber for a second. Because again, it's a low batting average, but he's got 53 homers, 128 RBIs. He's batting only 245, but he has a 943 OPS. Shohei has got 50 homers, 94 RBIs. I won't kill him on that because he does bat leadoff. He's batting 282 and he's got a 1.006. So, like Aaron Judge, over 1,000 OPS. So, I think that's going to be close as well. So, hit me with what you just found, and then I want to hear who you think is the National League MVP.
All right, why is there an asterisk here? Maybe he doesn't qualify. All right, so on base percentage, major league leaders, Judges at 453. Number two, George Springer at 394.
Wow.
Actually tied. George Springer, Shohei Ohtani, and Juan Soto all have a 394 on base
94 now.
percentage.
Wow. 453. That's Ricky Henderson-ish. We haven't seen that in a while. That is amazing. Like I said, Judge reminds me his this year reminds me of that run that Frank Thomas had where he almost every year he's batting well over 300 and he'd hit 35, 40 home runs and knock in over 120. I mean, he won the MVP twice if I remember right. Um wow. All right, what do you think of Schwarber and Otani? I took Soto out of it. I don't think he'll get any first place votes. Although Soto's had a remarkable year. But so I think it's just down to these two guys.
I think kind of the same thing with Shohei as I'm kind of feeling with Judge. Like, let's see. Let's go to some of his batting stuff. Uh, this is what Shohei Ohtani leads the National League in.
Oh, go ahead.
Um, Leads the majors in plate appearances, which that's impressive. But also as a leadoff hitter, of course, you're gonna do that.
Right.
Leads the majors in runs scored. Um, Leads the National League in on base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS plus, and leads the majors in total bases. Leads the National League in intentional walks. He has 19 intentional walks. Um, Also, he might start playing the outfield too. Um, that that would be insane. And also, I didn't even mention this. Here's his pitching stats. Because like they're not great, but also like he's 1-1 with a 3.29 ERA. He started 13 games, uh, 9 walks, 54 strikeouts in 41 innings.
Yeah.
ERA plus a 128. So like 128, you take that as like a decent all-star.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It's just because also the only thing I think that could stop both Judge and Otani from winning the MVP is kind of the voter fatigue, which like we see that a lot more in the NBA.
Right.
That's why like LeBron James, you could have argued that he could have won like 7 straight MVPs, but he's only gotten 4, I think.
And Jokic.
Tom
Yeah.
Brady,
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, like I think
Yeah.
sometimes voters are just like, let's just give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
But both of these guys are having such incredible seasons. Um, Otani is the first player I think ever to record 50 strikeouts as a pitcher and hit 50 home runs as a hitter.
Wow.
Which like the sample of that isn't big, but still it's impressive.
Man, oh man. Um, I just think that now the Phillies are fighting the Brewers for the best record, right, in the National League. And there's no doubt in my mind. Listen, I never minimized Bryce Harper. He's had an excellent year, which is just below his standards, though. I just think that Schwarber has carried that team. The Phillies are showing me something here. I think they're going to be dangerous this year in the postseason. Had enough of them with the 4-game sweep last week, but I think you're right. I think when you look at the overall picture, it's probably Judge and Otani. But again, for the National League, I want to hold off till the end of this year, which isn't that far away.
I'll give this caveat.
Yeah,
I think that if Schwarber or Cal Raleigh hit over 60 home runs, which
right.
is very possible,
Yeah,
I think that they probably win it.
yeah,
If by some crazy heater they get to like 62, 63, which like I don't know what people consider the National League record nowadays, because I know technically it's Barry Bonds, but some people don't believe that.
yeah,
Um, Maybe people would consider Stanton at 59 the number, but
yeah,
either way, I think if they get to 60, there's a good chance that a
yeah,
lot more people would go
yeah.
for them.
That's a great point. That's a great point. It's both these votes are going to be fascinating. They really are, And you know what? You'll throw this in. Schwarber is going to be a free agent again, and that is going to be fascinating as well. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's go around the majors. There's so much we need to get to in football. Yankees have righted the ship here, I think, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from them. I was in and out of the games the last couple of nights with them watching. I know it's the Twins, and they always, no matter what the Twins are good or not good, they always seem to beat up on the Twins. But I like what they did against the Red Sox over the weekend, and I think they got through that, as you called it, a gauntlet of really tough series, and they got through it, and I thought in really good shape. What are your thoughts here on the Yankees? Is there still that big concern in the bullpen? What are you thinking? You got to be feeling pretty confident now with 10, 11 games left, yes?
Yes, but the bullpen also still scares me.
Yeah,
Um, you'd said you caught the game, would that have been Tuesday night?
right.
They were winning that game 10-1,
Yeah, they almost lost that.
and and they almost lost it because of the
Yeah,
bullpen.
yeah,
Um, the Yankees bullpen has like a 5 something ERA since the beginning of August, which is the worst in the majors. That's the only thing that is really concerning for me. Um, However, if you're looking playoffs wise, you're going to either 3 or 4 starters, which means um, like a Cam Schlittler or like I don't think they'll go with Luis Hill depending on the matchup, but you'll have a couple guys that will also be added to the bullpen. Probably Will Warren, that would be my guess, but
yeah,
so I think that that can kind of help give the bullpen a little bit of a reprieve, a little bit of a rest.
yeah,
Um, but it's weird because like Devin Williams has looked pretty good recently,
yeah. Well,
but every
always
single
seems
time I'm
that.
like,
Yeah,
like every time I get excited about him, then he gives up a crazy amount of runs
Yeah.
and just like loses it. So the only guy I trust right now fully is David Bednar, which if you're talking playoffs, if you can get 7 innings from Max Fried and then try to scratch and claw your way through the eighth and ninth, I think they can do it.
Yeah.
Um, right now, I'm kind of content with the Yankees are probably going to be the first wild card. Um, the division is it's not over, but it's kind of over. They are 4 games out, technically five because of the tiebreaker with about 10 games left. It's going to be really hard. Like the Blue Jays will have to have like a sorry 2007 Mets type of collapse in order
Yeah.
for it to happen.
Uh,
Um, so,
with their pitching,
but
it's not
I
going to happen. Yeah, their pitching is too deep. Toronto's.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like whatever, Blue Jays win the division,
Right.
get your week off and melt down in the division series. That's what at least I'd hope for. But honestly, how it would work is the Yankees, they would either be facing right now they'd be facing the
Right.
Mariners.
Yeah. 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 That's what it said.
Um,
The MLB this morning. Yep.
and then but then the winner of that would play the Blue Jays. So
Yeah. Yeah. I feel I probably have a little because I'm not watching that bullpen the way you are every single day. I probably have a little bit more confidence in the Yankees than you do because I think that the feel going in, the Tigers came back to earth really, I think, in this last month or so. They're still, don't get me wrong, they still have a formidable team. But the Blue Jays are the ones that I'm more thinking in the American League would be the team that the Yankees would I don't want to say afraid, but that's the team that I think would give the Yankees a really really hard time. I know the Astros have had their numbers over have had their number over the years, but I think the Yankees could beat the Astros this year. I really do. The Mariners are a total they're the enigma to me because they've been so up and down and they made such great moves at the deadline, and it's finally paying off for them a little bit. And oh, by the way, they still have that same pitching that they've had the last couple of years. Although right now, I give the edge to the Blue Jays and their starters. I think, especially in the postseason, I think they're going to be dangerous because, as you said, you can put a couple of those number four, like you can put a Shane Bieber and let him come out of the bullpen, in the playoffs. So I think the Yankees, though, have a really, really good shot at getting back to the World Series. I really do. I think they beat the Mariners as much as I just now talked about how dangerous I think the Mariners are going to be. I think the Yankees in a postseason series with their experience, I think would beat the Mariners. Let me go to the Mets real quick, Ken. Something really crazy happened that I hadn't seen in a while in the Padres game. Which, by the way, when we talk about bullpens, oh my gosh, that Padre bullpen. If Jason Adam hadn't gotten hurt, but boy, oh boy, I saw a little bit of Mason Miller last night. He's still throwing 103, but he also has this unbelievable slider too, which has people. And you can bring a guy like that in the seventh inning, like he pitched part of the seventh and then the eighth inning. And then Suarez is very good. He's not, I don't think, a great closer. He probably has the most saves in the league this year, or he's close to it. But Miller would probably be a better closer, but Miller, what I like about him is we've seen that with a lot of these closers, they go into the eighth inning and they can't do it, right? The adrenaline's not flowing. Not the case with him. He's been outstanding. But anyway, the play in the Padre game, Diaz is his last name, and I'm forgetting his first name, the Padres catcher. He's coming around to score. He's flying around the bases and it might have been Manny Machado. I forgot who it was that got thrown out at second base. He slows down about halfway to the home plate, and Juan Soto makes a great throw. He has 8 outfield assists this year, so he's got a really good arm. Makes a great throw into Lindor, and the runner is out at second base before Diaz crosses the plate. And he would have crossed the plate had he kept running hard. He slows up. He thinks, "Oh, this is all good." The umpire waves off the run right away, and it didn't turn out to be. It seemed like it was going to be a turning point in the game, but it didn't turn out to be that way. The Mets still lost 7-4. This Met team, I can't figure out. They're like a couple of teams that I've mentioned. They have the talent to make a deep run here. I just don't know that it will happen. Ryan Helsley, hopefully he's getting straightened out. He pitched the eighth inning last night in a close game, and it wasn't 1-2-3, but he got out of the inning. I think he gave up one hit in the eighth inning. That was a really, really good sign to see because it's been their bullpen that has not been that great, even though the acquisitions they made should have been great. So, I mean, right today, the Diamondbacks are a game, which is incredible, by the way, because the Diamondbacks did sell off the two guys that are starting to hit for the Mariners, but the Diamondbacks still have really good pitching. Um, the guy they got for the Tigers, Rodriguez, Eduardo Rodriguez, they signed in the offseason, is finally now getting his act together. He's had a couple of really good outings. So, I mean, they're a game and a half behind the Mets. Both the Reds and Giants are at 500, and they're both two games, I think, behind the Mets. So I don't know, Ken. It's hard for me to say because I don't know which Met team is going to show up. This Met team has looked unbeatable in stretches this season, but most of the second half, certainly since August, they've looked very, very beatable. So I don't know what you're going to get. We'll see what happens. I'd love to see them take this afternoon game and take this series from the Padres. But I don't know, man. We'll have to see. You asked me last week, were we afraid of the Dodgers? Well, that's the one team I think if they do match up with, that they could probably. I think they could win that series and upset the Dodgers. But I don't like the matchup with the Brewers, even though they won that last year, or if they have to match up with the Phillies down the road or whatever. Phillies and Brewers are probably going to be 1 and 2. It would take a collapse for them not to be, but just 1 and 2. I think the Brewers have 93 wins and the Phillies 91 right now. So we'll see what happens. Looks like you looked up something and found because I'm looking at your face. Go ahead.
I'm not worried about the Diamondbacks. This is their remaining schedule. Phillies, Dodgers, Padres.
Well, I don't know, man. It's amazing how these upstart teams that sold a little bit at the deadline. The Mets, when they sold off Scherzer, Verlander that whole year, a few years back, they made like a little bit of a run. Sometimes you'll see that happen, but then they came back to earth. These Diamondbacks, as well as the Guardians, some of these teams it's the Giants. Now, again, it's mediocre though because both the Reds and Giants are at 500. I think the Mets are only 4 games over now, which is quite bad for coming from being 21 games over, back in June, late June, actually, So it's been kind of the opposite season of them as they had last year. So we'll see what happens. All right, we've got a good time here. So let's switch over to football. I want to ask you a couple of quick questions, and then I will share my screen, and I want you to do your weekly rankings. It's very interesting. I've got some questions to ask you there. Here's the one that really caught my eye that was very interesting. I love the Monday night start, when they did this doubleheader Monday night. I didn't see a second of the Raiders and Chargers, right? That was the second game. Started at 10 o'clock. But I watched almost every snap. At least I watched till the end of Tampa Bay and Houston. It was actually a pretty entertaining game, especially the fourth quarter when Baker Mayfield takes them on this drive. But the second game, I see this the next day that Tom Brady is did you see this? He's in the booth with the coaches. He puts on a headset and he's listening in on the play calls. Now, I guess the league, now he's a smart guy, and I think he's doing a little bit of a better job here in year 2 as an analyst. But this week, the game he's assigned to is
No.
Cowboys Bears, which is the big
Uh,
425 game, right? He's assigned to Cowboys Bears. Ben Johnson already said in their production meeting, I'm not telling him anything. He said, I'm not giving away the plays we're going to call because I'm going to look at him as a part owner who would pass those plays off to his team, to the Raiders. That seems to be a problem. And I don't know how the NFL is now going to address that. It seems like Brady wants to do both. Like at first, it didn't seem like to me, this was just my opinion, that his heart was totally into broadcasting. Although he had worked hard, he had did some mock games. Um, with his partner. Why is his name escaping me? My Met guy, um, is the play-by-play number one play-by-play guy. Why is his name escaping me? Kevin.
Uh, Kevin
No,
Burkhardt,
Kevin Burkhardt. Yes, baseball guy too. I don't know why that escaped me for a second, but
because
um,
he's a better baseball guy.
you think he's better at baseball? Okay.
I think he's good at both, but I
Yeah,
like him in baseball.
he is. Yeah, yeah, he really is. He's good. Um, anyway, what's your thoughts on this?
It's really interesting because, like, I'm surprised that they even, I don't know how they approved him to be owner when he was already a broadcaster.
Yeah,
And it's like he's getting paid a lot to broadcast games for Fox. Isn't it like 45 million a year or something like that?
something like that. Yeah,
And
yeah,
like you can't just ask him to quit like that. Like that's a lot of money you're asking anybody to leave on the table. Like I know Tom Brady is the last person that needs a lot of money because like he's Tom Brady, but still like I think it's really hard to just say, well, you have to quit one. Um, but also like in order to do either of these jobs effectively, he's going to need more insight than just like the vanilla insight. Because
yeah,
especially like when it comes to broadcasting, like knowing some of the ins and outs of what people are doing and what they're thinking makes the broadcast better.
yeah,
Like that's why Tony Romo
yeah,
with all of his
yeah,
crazy predictions was like
yeah. Yeah.
amazing. I know people kind of hate him now, but I don't understand
I don't
why.
understand
But
why that either. Uh,
um
yeah, that's a
but
great point.
yeah, like
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. And I agree with you because and also it's a 10-year contract that he signed, right? So
Yeah.
and he's only in year two of it. And so how do you now force him out? They should have said, wait, before they approved him as an owner, they should have said, well, you can't do both. Which one do you want to do? And so step aside now as a broadcaster. But now he's into it. And I think Tom Brady does everything full blast. I think he certainly does as much preparation as he possibly can. But a production meeting, if Ben Johnson is going to sit there and just give one word answers, and other coaches may follow suit. Ben Johnson is a novice, right? This is only his third game, but he spoke up like this. Suppose, what about Andy Reid or some of these veteran coaches? They'd be like, I'm not talking to him, and they have that right not to. So, all right. Some other quick things from week two. The Joe Burrow injury. Brock Purdy also got hurt. Justin Fields is out this week already. We see the injuries starting to creep up a little bit, but the Joe Burrow one is a big deal. Yes, what's your take?
I had texted you. It seems like there's no one more snake bitten right now than Joe Burrow when
Yeah,
it comes to
yeah,
NFL quarterbacks.
yeah,
Um, their backup, we were like, who's the backup? I Googled it, Jake Browning.
yeah.
Seems like a more fitting name for the Browns, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. And I mean, the Browns could use another quarterback, and
Oh
they've
Lord,
had a billion over
Antonio
the
Brown for
last
sure. Yeah,
25 years.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, they're not going anywhere without him, and he's going to be gone for they say about 3 months, which like you do the math, that's like basically he's done for the year.
yeah,
Um, I don't think unless they sign another guy, there was talk of Jameis Winston um getting traded over to Cincinnati, which like that kind of makes sense. I like Jameis Winston though, because he is like the most fun backup ever.
yeah.
Um,
He's not going to play unless there's an injury here with Russell Wilson. You're not going to see
nah,
James Winston this year because Jackson Dart even. I think if there's an injury, Jackson Dart will probably be the next up, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he's the QB3, which someone asked him about it, and he said, I'm just here to play, and
yeah,
I'm here to whatever they need to call my number, I'm here.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so I don't know. It's just going to be very interesting. Because also there's not really like a great like I don't know who else you would get there other
yeah,
than like because even Jameis Winston, he's fun, but he's not really good.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you have to contend with the Steelers, who always seem to be at 9-8. You have to still contend with the Ravens,
yeah,
who seem pretty good this year if
yeah,
they aren't giving a gigantic lead.
yeah,
Um, And also, like, for whatever reason, the Browns always play the Bengals well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just gonna be really hard. I don't
Yeah.
think they can do it.
And teams will ask for high draft picks now too because they know that Bengals are desperate. Nobody's going to do them any favors, because they know the Bengals are desperate. But I texted you this. They've got their, four or $500 million receivers. And I want to say this though. I want to give the Bengals a lot of credit because they had the reputation of being cheap, but they held on to their top two guys and they signed their defensive guys. So, they laid out some money and they laid out money for Joe Burrow too. So but can Jake Browning get the ball to those all-world receivers that this team has? I don't know, man. That's gonna be the question that I think we're gonna see that pretty quickly with them. Um, we just mentioned Russell Wilson, so give us a few seconds on how you felt about your Giants this week.
That's probably the most exciting Giants game I've seen in a while.
Right.
And like, um, because it went into overtime and everything, I actually got to catch most of it. Because sometimes with Giants games, I can only catch the highlights because
Yeah.
living in Cleveland and the Giants aren't on national TV that much. And when they are on national TV, they're playing teams like the Chiefs. Um, but it's just I forgot the exact stat, but the Giants I think were last in the league in deep balls, like 20 plus yard passes. Russell Wilson just like chucking it up there is hilarious to watch sometimes. Also frustrating when it's in overtime and he's just like, I know Malik Neighbors is out there somewhere. There might be three defenders around him. Let me just throw it up and hopefully he'll get it.
Yeah.
But like, I also did see this 60 plus yard field goals
It's crazy.
as time expired. The Giants have had the most go against them out of any team in the NFL. I think like six.
That's just crazy. I
It's
mean,
insane.
that field goal was unbelievable. I mean, those last few minutes and overtime, it was it was so intense. It was really a lot of fun to watch, and I was rooting that the Giants would come out on the plus side of that. Do you take solace in that game? And now I'm sure we're going to talk about week three, but why don't we do that real quick? Because that's what game is that? Is that the Sunday night game, right? Chiefs and Giants. Um,
Yeah,
any shot here? You give the Giants?
like 5%. Um,
Wow.
because
Okay.
like the Chiefs are like
0-2. Yeah.
0-2. This is as much of a must win. I'm gonna get into a fun stat later with our tiers, but um, I just don't think there's a lot to go with. Um, I saw the promo for it, and I think playing the September song is about the biggest highlight the Giants will have. Um,
Wow.
obviously you should
Yeah.
probably be able to figure out why they're
Yeah.
doing September as the song.
Yeah. 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 21st of September. Yes. Those are some of the words. Yes. I remember Earth, Wind, and Fire, one of my all-time favorite groups. Um, Last thing, and I'll share our screen and then I'll get this posted. I couldn't post the one this past week, but I'll get this one up. Um, Kirk Cousins was the Bengals. I guarantee you now the Falcons are holding on to him for a reason. But I guarantee you if the Bengals have not already called, they probably said, yeah, we can start at a number one pick and work our way from there. Would you go all in for Kirk Cousins if you're the Bengals?
Not for a first overall pick, but I Kirk
Yeah,
Cousins would be a good pick,
yeah,
a good pickup. I would say maybe a second rounder.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, the Falcons are holding on to him. I mean, they were all in on Michael Penix Jr., who's playing okay. But I get the sense that he probably has a short leash there. Um, all right, let's share our screen here. All right. Let's see. Do you see that? We have it up?
yeah, it is up.
All right. And is that a good view? Yeah, because we're off to the side. All right, take it away, Ken.
All right. Well, 5 levels. Here we go. Um, I'll start at the bottom. Mock draft season. These guys, you're looking at mock drafts. Actually, I was watching a reaction to the Browns loss. Obviously, they got destroyed by the Ravens. And they were like, "Yeah, we're about to start to look at mock drafts." So that's where I was
Mock
inspired by this.
mock drafts
Um,
already. Wow.
yeah, and also like because before, like at the beginning of the year, you're like, okay, like you'll have a couple teams taking for Arch Manning, and he's looked awful. So now it's just like we gotta figure out who we want. The Saints, I mean, the Saints knew it was going to be a bad year. I think out of all of these 5 teams, the team that kind of surprises me the most is the Dolphins, because like we we consider the Dolphins being probably kind of bad, but they we didn't think they would be this bad. So I don't know what to say with them other than
They
that.
get they get the Bills tonight. So
Yeah,
yeah, it may go from bad to worse.
yeah, and also like Mike McDaniel's kind of seems like he's gone from like fun, quirky to like, are you okay, weird.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's a good
and
point. Yeah.
he's looking a lot more on the hot seat. So yeah, Saints, Dolphins. I guess I should actually say the names: Saints, Dolphins, Browns, Panthers, and Titans. Hit the panic button. These 6 teams have had some moments, but also there's some big red flags to kind of address. The Broncos. Did you see the ending of that game?
Yeah, they made a lot of mistakes at the end there. Yeah, I did see the ending of that. Yes.
So that alone should be very concerning.
Yeah.
The Bears,
Ugh,
it's not looking good for Ben Johnson as a head coach, which it's 2 games in. You judge anyone in their first 2 weeks at any job, you're not going to get it.
right.
Um, uh, Tom Brady's Raiders, they've had some ups and some downs, but like I don't know. Geno Smith 3 interceptions, kind of raising a red flag. The Chiefs, there has only been one team since the turn of the century that has started out 0-3 and made the playoffs. For the Chiefs, this is their must win of must wins this weekend against the Giants.
Yeah.
0-2, I believe they said since 2020 when they expanded the playoffs, only 5 teams have made the playoffs after starting 0-2.
Wow.
Could the Chiefs be the sixth? Absolutely.
Mm.
But there's a lot of red flags here. And I know that they faced a couple good teams to start the year, and like the Eagles are a great team and everything. But like the offense doesn't look the same. Travis Kelce looks distracted. Um, you worry about injuries such as Xavier Worthy, although he'll probably be back this week. There's a lot of things there. The next is the Texans. The Texans are also like, I don't really know what's wrong with them. We've seen CJ Stroud, and we're getting closer and closer to wondering if he peaked in his rookie season.
Mm.
Um, it was at the beginning. Oh, I have a stat with the Bears in a sec too. It was
Yeah.
at the beginning of last year, when the Texans played the Bears, and CJ Stroud is kind of trying to take Caleb Williams under his wing and be like, "Hey, like the NFL is tough. Like, let me help you out." They've been awful ever since.
Mm.
Um, Fun fact on the Bears, kind of along the same lines, Caleb Williams, when he was drafted by the Bears, texted their punter, like, "You're not going to be used a lot." Um, since that moment, the Bears have punted more than any team in the league. So,
God.
yeah. And
Oh,
also the Jets. I mean, 0-2 is always kind of hitting the panic button. But, like, what in the world between the Browns who start 0-2, the Jets who start 0-2, and the Giants who start 0-2?
uh,
Like, I feel like this has been every year for like the last like 5, 6, 7 years.
that's because it has, you know. Oh boy.
And
Yeah.
it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Now, also kind of the same thing. Like you have a new coach in Aaron Glenn, you have a new quarterback in Justin Fields. It'll take a little bit of time, and the Jets could still make this interesting. But also, you look at the rest of that division, and it's like, did the Bills already win it? And it's still
Yeah.
September? Because it kind of feels that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, All right, this next group is I have mixed feelings. This is our biggest group because like I don't know what to think of these guys.
Yeah.
Um, the first three I have are the Bengals, the Commanders, and the 49ers. And they're all for the same reason. They've all had some quarterback injuries, and you wonder if they can overcome it. The 49ers will have Mac Jones starting this week, which will be very interesting. Um, the Commanders, they're not sure on Jaden Daniels yet, and obviously we talked about Joe Burrow. Um, and then you have the Steelers, who I don't know what to think of them. They kind of seem like the mid 500 team again.
Yeah. Seems like every year.
Yeah. The Vikings have had one good quarter of quarterback play, and also JJ McCarthy's hurt. I believe we're going to see a matchup of Carson Wentz and Jake Browning this weekend, which will be interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Um, Carson Wentz will also he's going to start for six different teams in 6 years, which also is kind of interesting.
Wow.
Um,
Oh, man.
Seahawks also, I don't know what to think of the Seahawks. They had a good week, they had a weird week. I don't know. Cowboys too. I think the Cowboys, a lot of what they can do this week will kind of help define their season a little bit.
Yeah.
I know it's only week 3, but I don't know. Patriots too, like I don't know what to think of them. Sometimes they seem good, sometimes they seem bad.
Yeah.
And the Giants, I don't know. I don't know what to think of the Giants. I I fully expect them to start out 0-3.
Yeah.
And once they do that, they're dropping probably all the way in the bottom.
Ugh. Yeah.
Um, strong start. I think all of these 7 teams feel pretty good about their start. The Colts, I think, are the first team ever, or the first team in a long time, to not punt in their first 2 games at all. Um,
Amazing.
fun fact: Daniel Jones and Russell Wilson go into week 3, 1 and 2 in passing yards, which is fun. Russ,
Wow.
I believe, is 1 because he had an insane passing yard game, but Daniel Jones is right there. Also, the Chargers. The Chargers have kind of looked like they're the team to take that next step. They've always been like kind of but like they're in a really tough division, and here they are in first place.
Yeah.
So good for them. Um, the Rams also low key the NFC West. Everyone is 500 or better. So also a very tough division. With that, the Cardinals too. Strong start. You got anytime you're 2-0, you got to feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Falcons had a heartbreaking loss to the Buccaneers, but they kind of bounced back pretty well. I don't really know if they're going to stay that high, but we'll see. The Lions responded after losing to Green Bay in week 1 with absolute spanking of the Bears in week 2.
Yeah.
Uh, they showed, oh, Ben Johnson, we don't need you. We can score 50 with who we got. So, um, and then the Jags, I don't know. They kind of seem like they've gotten off to a great start, but maybe not because they're 1-1, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got the top 5. Um, I think it's really hard to argue. You could probably maybe put the Chargers here. You could also argue the Colts because their offense has been so good. But I think for the most part, you can say that these guys are the top 5 in football. Got the Eagles. They have they're like, oh, we won the Super Bowl. We want to try to win a second one. Um, but also like they haven't looked like dominant yet, but they've looked like they've just done enough to win. Um, I think it was someone on First Things First was saying they're like the Chiefs from a couple years ago where they're winning games, but they're not blowing people out. They're
Hmm.
just doing enough to win.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts had like barely over 100 yards. Chris Jones made sure that he knew that, but
Yeah.
they still won the game. Um, the Ravens, I know that they lost in heartbreaking fashion to the Bills, but they still are a really good team,
Yeah.
and they have a top 5 quarterback in Lamar Jackson. It's really hard to dispute them.
Yeah.
The Packers, I think, have looked like the most dominant team so far in the early going. Um, so it's really hard to not have them there. The last 2, you got the Bills. I mean, there's not much to say about the Bills other than they've looked really good. Josh Allen is like, yeah, no, we're trying to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, I put the Buccaneers up here last year
Wow.
or last week, and it was like kind of eh. I think it kind of still fits. Baker Mayfield has had, I think they said since the beginning of last year, 8 or 9 fourth quarter comebacks. this dude continues to just show that he is just growing and he's a mature guy. And
Yeah.
man, any team that decides to just go off of him because of his maturity seems kind of weird, especially when you decide to bring in someone that had legal issues. But I don't know what team would do that. Um, but the Buccaneers have looked really good, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
they're going to start to get themselves into that. Are we Super Bowl contenders this year? Type of talk.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
especially if they start 3-0, 4-0. But yeah, there we go.
Awesome. Wow. I'm leaving it up for a second to see if I had any questions for you. I don't think I do. Are you surprised though at what Daniel Jones is doing and can he sustain that?
Yes and no. Um, I'm I'm shocked that they are, maybe not shocked, but I'm surprised that they are 2-0. But not even just 2-0 because like I don't think the Colts are that bad of a team. But like he has been more efficient than he's ever been with the Giants. Um, like they didn't punt at all. Like their punter literally could have just like picked up a chair and done nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. But also it's hard to say whether or not it's sustainable. But you look at their division and it's not that hard.
Yeah.
I mean, Jacksonville, okay. Houston will probably get into it. Tennessee, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think Daniel Jones though will keep that team in contention. I don't know how far they can go, the Colts, but I think that a steady veteran presence like that, there's no knock on Anthony Richardson. I think down the road he's probably going to be a good quarterback, if not there in Indianapolis somewhere. But um, I like what I'm seeing from him so far. You mentioned Jacksonville, and we'll get to the games coming up this week real quick. Their coach is supposed to be, remember how many teams wanted him, their new coach. And boy, did he get in. I don't know if you saw that video. Did he get in the face of Trevor Lawrence, really challenging him, not once, but a couple of times on the sidelines. And so, Trevor Lawrence, we all have been waiting, to see just the consistency from him. We know he has the ability and the talent, but we just haven't seen it from him. But hopefully he's got the right coach, there now. And the last thing I'll say, I didn't talk much about my Jets, and I'll wait till next week to see, to give you a little bit more of an assessment because I don't think it's fair with the new coach as well. And a lot of these teams we're talking about have new coaches, right? The Bears are the one that surprised me the most, Ken, at getting waxed like that last week because of watching those first three quarters against Minnesota and seeing the talent and the potential that they have. I've been surprised by them, and so I think you have them in exactly the right tier. I think they should be pushing the panic button right now. So all right, let me stop sharing. Great job as always on that. And let's talk about this week. We mentioned Dolphins Bills tonight. Sunday, they're in Cleveland. You get one of your top tier teams against the Browns. Packers at Browns, 1 o'clock. What are we thinking?
Um, I don't know. Maybe they can make it a single digit deficit.
Well, I, at some point, their coaches, and we never advocate for that here, but at some point, their coach is going to be on the hot seat if the Browns don't turn this around. I, I just that team has way too much talent to be as uncompetitive. I mean, last week they were uncompetitive against the Ravens, and the Packers look like a Super Bowl contender. So, I don't know what to say. You mentioned Bengals Vikings. I think that's an interesting matchup also at 1 o'clock. What are you thinking there?
Um, I don't know. It's the battle of the backups, which
Yeah,
you hate to see this early,
yeah,
but I would probably lean Minnesota
yeah.
because I think I trust Carson Wentz more, but that also might be dumb. I don't know.
Carson Wentz is a good backup. And we haven't seen much of Jake Browning, but Wentz is a good backup, so I think that's a sound, sound opinion there. I think this is a big game at 1 o'clock that I don't think is getting the love, and that's the Rams at the Eagles. What do we
Yeah,
think there?
this is the opportunity for either of these teams to say, yeah, no, we're for real this year, which I think most people would still say the Eagles are. But like
Yeah,
teams going from the West Coast to the East Coast usually doesn't work out. I go Eagles just because also they're at home, but I wouldn't be surprised either way.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Desperation time in Chicago. It'll be in Chicago, Dallas at Chicago. That's the big national game at 4:25.
I think that's a season defining game for both teams because like I had said before, one team since 2000 has made the playoffs starting 0-3. And like I think some people maybe aren't that high on the Bears. I don't remember if I even said the Bears would make the playoffs. Um, but yeah, if you start out 0-3, and especially it kind of seems like Caleb Williams is the type to like be very mopey very quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Not the best comparison, but it kind of reminds me of Devin Williams. He like gives up a single and gets like all mopey and then gives up 10 runs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's interesting.
but I kind of give the edge a little bit to the Cowboys, especially taking the momentum from last week. Great offensive performance by Dak Prescott, and also knowing that their kicker can easily hit 60. It'll be hard to do that at Soldier Field,
Yeah.
but like hitting like a 55-yard field goal really can shorten up the field, especially if you're talking about a close game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I do think that's a early season litmus test, I think, for both teams. And if the Cowboys blow the Bears out here, I think the Bears are in for a long season. And I don't think their coach will be anywhere near the hot seat or anything like that. But I think the Bears might be in for a long season, which will be surprising to me because I think the Bears have a lot more talent to at least be in the mix, this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they have a horrible season, the guy that'll be on the hot seat is Caleb Williams,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
like
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
Bears fans that were like, "Oh, this guy's going to be the first ever quarterback to get for 4,000 yards,"
I
and he
agree.
doesn't come close to the other first 2 years.
Yeah.
He's going to be gone.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let me say something real quick for Chiefs Giants because you already gave your pick there. The Chiefs, so it is always hard towards the end of a dynasty. And don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that this is the end for the Chiefs yet. We don't know that yet. But I'm hearkening back to the Steelers dynasty in the 70s, 49ers dynasty in the 80s, Cowboys dynasty in the 90s. It, everybody treaded lightly as before our eyes, these teams all got old together. Um, and so this reminds me a little bit more of the Steelers than the other two teams I named, because the Steelers in 1980, everyone was like rooting for them to continue to go on, but it was apparent that Terry Bradshaw was starting to head towards the end of his career, and a few others as well. I mean, they did a free agency wasn't in football then. So they did a great job keeping those teams together. Andy Reid has done a great job holding on to his core here. But I'm starting to question after these first two games, even though they didn't get blown out in either one of these. But I'm starting to question, is that magic still there? And is this team getting old together? I don't know. I don't think we'll know that until mid to late season. But if they do start 0-3, that's a bridge that's hard to get, to cross, to get over. And so it's going to be fascinating to watch, I think, this game Sunday night. Kenny, I held off on this. The game of the week to me is Monday night. I think you'll agree, right? Detroit at Baltimore this Monday night. That's must-see TV, right?
Absolutely. What makes this game so interesting too is both teams would not want to end up starting out 1-2.
Yep.
Um, because
Yeah.
like if you are if you're the Ravens, you look at your division and you're still like, this is very winnable. But especially like a loss to the Lions and then a loss to the Bills, the narrative is going to be we can't beat the good teams. We could
Yeah.
just blow out and spank the bad teams.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
that's been their narrative since Lamar Jackson emerged.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but then on the Lions side, let's just assume that the Packers win. Um, I think that's not a crazy assumption.
Yeah.
Um, you're going to be 2 games back, and you've already lost to them once.
Yeah.
1-2, 3-0. It's going to be hard to overcome that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a big game for both of
It
them.
it really is. Yeah, that's going to be a fascinating, great early season interconference matchup that really has a lot of meaning for both. All right. Well, great job, Kenny, as always. I'll post those out there. I wasn't able to do it this past week, but I should be able to get that out there this week. You ready for some inspiration?
Let's do it.
All right. My inspiration is a linebacker from Canada on Rutgers. You probably heard about this story. You might not have if you're not in New York, because this became a big story in New York. So it's going to go back to 2022. I'm going to read part of this article because I saw this on, I think it was on News 4 here in New York. They did a little profile on him. Dariel Jadobe. Jadobe. Yeah. I'm probably mispronouncing his last name. Um, it's Djabome, the Jobane. I'll leave it at that. He announced plans to go to Rutgers back in 2022. So he's a native of Ontario, Canada. He played 4 years of high school football in Canada and was set to do a fifth year of prep school with the hopes of bolstering his recruitment. Then the June camp season rolled around. I went to a Buffalo camp expecting an offer, which I got. I was definitely the best linebacker up there that day. Then at the end of camp, a coach from Rutgers, and this is probably the defensive coach, Corey Heatherman, was watching me but didn't approach me until the end. He said, "We need to see you at our camp on June 12th." I remember the exact date. However, that date did not work for Dario. I had a precise schedule with my coach and other players who were on my team, so I didn't know if I could make it. Rutgers said that they really wanted to see me perform. I ended up not going. My teammates wanted to go to Pitt, so I went there that day instead of Rutgers. Time passed, but Rutgers' interest in Dariel still it did not wane. Coach Heatherman messaged me last week saying, now this is back in 2022, saying that they still wanted to see me on campus at their Big Man Academy. So on Friday, I went to UMass. My coach drove, and it was like a 5 hour drive. We had nowhere to sleep. This is a big part of the story. So we ended up sleeping in the car. It was hot, it was humid, it was uncomfortable. Then the next day, I had camp at Rutgers. They worked me out on a different field away from the big man camp for like 2 hours. Then I got more work done in their bubble. I told the coaches I had to sleep in the car, but I got the job done and did what I had to do. Dariel's arrival at Rutgers on Saturday came without an offer or even the promise of an offer. I had no offer, just interest from them. After the camp, they said we need to offer for this kid. So his time in Piscataway did not end after the Saturday camp. They said they wanted me to take an official visit. I had to do it before the next week because of the dead period. So they flew in my parents and my brother came too. We had a great time and I really enjoyed Rutgers. The rest is history as Dario committed and he'll be on campus this summer for training camp at the end of June, unfolding a lot differently on how it all began for the Canadian linebacker. He's one of the best linebackers in the country today, and he's probably has a future in the NFL. But just thinking about all of the things that God moved for him to actually have that day, I thought that was a phenomenal story. And his coach, high school coach, really standing behind him and sleeping in the car, on a June evening. That couldn't have been easy, right? Because you ain't gonna let the air conditioning run all night. And um, so I'm gonna butcher his last name again. So I'll just say Dariel, linebacker at Rutgers. That was an inspirational story for me this week.
Wow, what a story. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
Um, my story is in the world of baseball. Uh, so Anthony Rizzo is the inspiration this week. He announced his retirement. I think it might have been last week this time. Um, Longtime Cub with the Yankees last year. it was obvious that he was retiring. No one picked him up. He was doing a couple of broadcasts at TBS. I don't know if you saw any.
No, I didn't
One
know
he
that.
was like he did one of the Yankees post games with TBS, interviewing Jazz, and it's like, hey, say hi to the boys for me. Which like some people are like, oh gosh. But also like I feel bad for Rizzo because after his concussion, he was just never the same.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate, and we could talk about that another day. But so obviously more known as a Cub, probably his most iconic moment is pocketing the World Series ball for 2016. Um, so legendary Cub retires as a Cub on Saturday. Really fun because they had like the retirement ceremony and then he went out in the bleachers and hung out with the fans, which I think more players should do because I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Also, one of the Cubs players hit a home run right in his hands and he dropped it. I don't know if you heard that.
I did, yes.
Um, and then like people were asking like, "What happened? What happened?" He's like, "That's why I'm retired. I can't catch anymore." Um, but not the point of the inspiration because after he announced his retirement, he showed off the jersey that he was going to wear at his retirement ceremony. And it's a jersey with a whole bunch of signatures that he's collected over the years. Now, if you don't know Rizzo's backstory, when he was in the minor leagues, just about to come up to the majors, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, a form of cancer. Obviously, recovered nicely and had a very excellent major league career. But as a result, obviously, cancer is near and dear to his heart, and especially children fighting cancer. So anytime he would go to a hospital to visit someone fighting cancer, he would have the kids sign this Rizzo jersey. So he has this collection of kids' signatures, all the front and the back of his jersey signed, and that's the jersey he wears on his retirement day.
Wow.
So
Um,
great career, Rizzo. I liked you as a Yankee.
yeah.
I wish that 2024 went a little bit better for you. And it is just unfortunate to see how it's hard because you look Alex Verdugo and Anthony Rizzo started every game, and neither of them are in the league this year.
Wow.
Uh,
In the
and
postseason.
then you have Ben Rice, who's had a great year, and Trent Grisham, who's had a great year. But
Yeah.
shout out to Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah.
Great career.
I like that. He's one of my favorite players, Anthony Rizzo, both with the Cubs and with the Yankees. That's great. I did not know. I did remember that he started his career with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. But I didn't realize that he had all those signatures signed. That's an awesome story. Love that. Love that. He's probably got a career in broadcasting though, because he's got big personality.
Yeah, or I could see him as a future manager too.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, yeah. All right, great stuff, man. What a time of year. Pennant races heating up. This is a big week 3 in the NFL. Before you know it, we're gonna have NBA camps opening up all around the place, and we'll be talking some Knicks and the new NBA on NBC and on Amazon. This is gonna be a fun rest of the year. So lots to do next week. Kenny, take us home.
All righty, this is Kenny Square N.
Kenny.
Sports on the Positive Tip. We'll see you guys next week.